we're back.
And we are back. And I'm sorry we are a little late. That was on my account. I was trying to get some technical issues resolved, and they are resolved. So I apologize for that. But we are here, and it is season 4, episode 1. We are at season 4. Wow.
That's so weird. I can't believe we got picked up by the network once again.
Yes. We got renewed for another season.
We did get renewed for another season.
This is great.
Yeah.
Well,
13 episodes. We didn't get renewed for 26, unfortunately.
Yeah. So we're also late because I had to drop off my daughter at the train station, and there's a railroad crossing there, and that railroad crossing is the dumbest railroad crossing in the entire United States. There'll be no trains, no traffic, but it will keep the barriers down for like 10 minutes, just like that. You sit there, you can't do anything, And so that was crazy. I wish they would fix. I wish they would fix that. It's nuts. Anyway, super excited to be here, and just need to catch my breath a little bit, and then we can get going. Yeah, I am excited about today. I've been excited this past few days because we've had a lot of lives with the community, etc., and lots of good feedback and amazing things going on. And see there, Gus says he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, it's the one at Ringstorf, man. I mean, I don't understand that crossing. I really don't. So anyway, enough of that. No one else has any idea what we're talking about there, so we should probably not dive too much in that. Okay, let me get going here. Let me share my screen, and we can get going. I apologize, guys, in advance that my presentation is a little light, but I have a lot of substance. All right, I don't have slides, but I have substance, so that's good. Okay, let's get going. All right, welcome everyone. This is VTRU Download. We do this every week on Friday, where we review the events of the past week and talk about what is coming up in the next week and maybe weeks ahead. This is season 4, episode 1. It is July 5th, 2024. I'm Nick Kalyani, the founder and CEO of VTRU, and I'm really excited to bring you these highlights today because we've got a lot of things going on right now. July is a pivotal, absolutely important month for VTRU, and I'm excited that everything is coming together swimmingly. All right, let's start with VTRU Suite. Some big developments there. We, as I mentioned the week prior, we had 0 bugs. We had gotten down to all the bugs, that bug list that we had fixed. And now today I got a first preview of the new features and in phase 2. And I'm excited because next week we are going to release them. So artists will be able to consign multiple artworks. Boom, that opens up the doors to everyone. There's been a lot of artists waiting with sort of a portfolio of artworks to get them on, and we'll be able to do it. Remember, our Genesis had a constraint. It was only one artwork, only $150. And now we are removing that because Genesis is done. And so artists can also set arbitrary price of artworks next week. We've got that going. We also have creator KYC in progress. And with the arbitrary price, there will also be fees added. And so this will trigger revenue sharing. And I know in this community, we've talked a lot about revenue sharing the past few days. And the VTRU Suite is important for that because the revenue stream from essentially minting NFTs is a significant portion. And in fact, we will enable that immediately so that starting next week, you will see the flow as we've described. And I'm going to talk about that much more later. It'll be a repetition for some of you, but there are new folks in this audience on the Fridays. And so I want to make sure I cover what we are talking about with regard to revenue share. So in any case, essentially with these changes in place, we are going to have revenue sharing start to happen immediately, and everyone eligible to receive revenue share can start claiming revenue share immediately. Now, of course, it's going to be very small at first because we are not talking about thousands and thousands of artworks, but it's going to grow very, very rapidly, and that's really what I'm excited about. So that is happening next week. We are also working on what we are calling essentially a creator matrix. The idea there is we want to set up some rules that are objective, that determine when a creator goes from untrusted at the beginning to trusted. And the reason is because currently, due to some bad actors who are, basically scammers putting fake artworks and things like that, we have content moderation in process. It's community moderated. We don't intend for that to go away for new users, for new artists coming into the ecosystem. But what we want is for creators who are here, who are trusted. We don't want to impede their progress in any way. So for our team, are working very hard to come up with an objective set of rules, and you complete those things, and boom, your vault is set to be trusted, and you no longer have to go through moderation. So we are excited about that. And some of the artists we obviously really know from our long-standing relationships, and we'll probably just go ahead and get them trusted immediately, so we don't have to go through the moderation. So really excited. So all of you guys holding on to your collector credits, be ready, because when this feature starts next week, there's going to be a flood of new artwork coming in, and first come first serve. So collect away and build up some nice collections, because later on, these are the early ones. These are very early, and I think there is some significance to having some of these early artworks on there. So this is going to be a really, really big trigger for us to get other artists involved. So I think I'll just be candid here. Artists are waiting for two things. They are waiting to make sure that they can submit multiple artworks at a price point they want. That's one thing. And the second thing is they care about liquidity. So at the end of the day, if we can achieve those two things, we will have artists come here. Because if you look at what's happening in the rest of the ecosystem, there's a general slowdown of activity. Meanwhile, at VTRU, we can accelerate activity. So I'm really excited about that. And with the advent of revenue sharing for creators also, this is very new and very interesting, and something that no other protocol has done, no other marketplace has done at a scale that we are talking about. So I think next week's going to be interesting. Now, speaking of VTRU Suite, behind me, you should see there's some beautiful artworks being displayed along with the creator avatars and the creator names, etc. So this is just a first blush, a very early, how could it look like at an exhibition kind of demo of VTRU stream. So right now, there's no curation or anything like that. This is just a random stream of artworks coming from VTRU Studio right now. So this is live, and it's just feeding off HDMI right onto my screen. So obviously, when we have the art specific ones, etc., we will have even more lush sort of artworks, and have sort of the creator image, etc., configurable, where you consider maybe it slides up for a second or so and then goes away, but you as the consumer will be able to do it. But right now, I've had let's see, I've had the Genesis artworks here. I've had Apple default screensaver for a while. I've had a lot of superhero stuff, etc. But now I'm excited because we can have our regular stream. And again, this is, like, I would say pre-alpha. It's not tuned or anything. You can probably see that right now. We have some issues with loading, etc. That's going to happen. We'll fix all those. It's going to be cool. But I'm excited. In the software industry, we have this term called dog fooding. Dog fooding means, you got to taste your own product. You got to work with it and experience all the pain of it, so that you know what a consumer is going to experience. So I'm dog fooding our stuff like day one. As soon as it's ready, I'm using it. I expect all the people in the team to start using it, etc. So we are aware of what's right and what's wrong with the software. We can give feedback and get it fixed, etc. So right now, that's VTRU stream going off, and I'll be happy to, once the team has had a chance to optimize it just a little bit, I'll be happy to share this initial URL with everybody. Again, early demo, it's not the VTRU stream that we intend to have, where you have curations, playlists, just like Spotify, right? This is just a URL, random artworks playing. That's all. It's just a way, gives us a way to start, calibrating and designing properly the transitions, the size, the the fidelity, the bandwidth, all kinds of things like that. So excited about that. All right, let's continue then with VTRU Store. So VTRU Store is obviously our sort of implementation of a multi-tenant store system, just like Shopify. And those requirements are in progress. We've made the first set of requirements. And one of the key things we've decided that's really, really important here, and it's in the spirit of dog fooding, is that the main VTRU store that we have will run on this software. It won't be separate. And all the marketplaces that come on this platform, whoever creates a marketplace, it's literally create new marketplace. It will be based on this. All right, let me see here. My laptop goes to sleep. I need to fix that. Okay, so those are the kinds of issues that we need to deal with. Anyway, getting back to it, we're going to just use our own software. So if you come and say create new store, you're going to get an exact identical marketplace to what we are running. So we'll have parity there. And we are now going through and finalizing all the requirements. We basically have a 30-day window. So because we have a marketplace partner, and I didn't remove the agreement sign here because we spent this week essentially going through some of the terms and all that, but we've reached verbal agreement, and so we're going to have one marketplace on there already, a partner. So we're excited about that. All right, so that covers VTRU Store. Now let's go into Vortex. All right, so with Vortex, huge developments. Obviously, last week I reported there were 12,473 Vortex mints. I'm very pleased to report that today, just before I hopped on, there were 24,206 Vortex mints. So that is just about 800 approximately shy of the 25K cutoff for the free available guaranteed Vibe token. So I don't know, maybe it's already there, right? We should go check. Let's go check and see where we are right now. That's the number we're looking at here. It was 24. What are we at? We are at 24,232. Yeah, so it went up. So like I said, the after 25,000, so at 25,001 onward, all the way to 100,000, you are not guaranteed a Vibe token. It's the luck of the draw. So 1 in 3 Vortex mints at that point will get 1 Vibe. Right now, the number of Vibes you get is variable. It depends on, again, the luck of the draw. If you get an epic, you'll get 4. If you get an ultra, you get 3. If you get a rare, you get 2. And if you get a common, you get 1. But after 25,001, it becomes one of 1. And you get 1 Vibe, and it's a 33% approximately chance that you're going to get it on there. So that code is already deployed and in production. And in order to give you the ability to look at that and see what's happening, you can now go to scope and hit reload on Vortex. And let me just go here. I'm in the wrong place. Scope.vitruvio.xyz. That's where you want to be. And if you go to Vortex, you will see that there's a change now. With your Vortex, there is now a Vibe indicator. So it will tell you approximately what your airdrop vibes are going to be. Not approximately, exactly. Why did I say approximately? Yep. So this is good if you have a serial number under 25,000, you're guaranteed that, so you can see it. But if you're about 25,000, then it might not show a Vibe, or it might show a Vibe and it'll say X1 because you either have 0 or 1. So this is a good way to go and find out if you are going to be eligible for a Vibe based upon the luck of the draw. So anyway, that is in production and ready to go. All right. So speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about Vortex World. Team's been working really hard on this. So first and foremost, I want the creators in the audience to know that the creator challenge is activated, and Fur and I will have a separate space again about it because we need to update all of you and make sure that everyone's on the right track. But you can go look at the rules on vitru.xyz/creator challenge. Next, there are 2 Vortex World websites launching next week. I would say earlier in the week rather than later, because we really want to expedite this as much as possible. The first is www.vortex.world. That's the general information website, the marketing content, the informational content, etc. We're going to keep it updated regularly. And the second one is app.vortex.world, which is where we are actually deploying the full-fledged application and all that. So until now, there hasn't been a coherent brand or anything like that, but that's all done now. We have a brand, we have colors, we have everything there. And so when we launch app.vortex.world next week, the first new feature we will activate there is the land claim. And I know that's been delayed, but now with the branding and all that in place, it makes sense to do it at the same time. And so we'll get that. The other thing that's big is we have, again, we were waiting on this, the brand activation and all of that kind of stuff, but we will launch the Warpcast campaign also next week. So you can expect to have Warpcast users join the ecosystem because they will be minting Vortex directly from the app. Now, last week, or maybe it was the week before, I had showed you sort of the workflow of how what we're going to do is we're not going to allow people to choose the rarity, but we are going to allow them to choose the symbol. That's the difference in the Vortex Warpcast app. It's the only difference. And if you mint directly on the Vortex website, even that symbol is randomized for you. So that's the only difference. Warpcast, it gamifies it a little bit and makes use of the platform the way it's intended to be. So that is going on. I see comments here saying, VTRU is pretty much useless, etc. That is far from the truth. It is actually going to be one of the most valuable coins, tokens in the ecosystem, given that it is going to be the basis of all the Launchpad token sharing. So you just have to be a little patient. Things get their time in the spotlight, and VTRU is going to have its time in the spotlight. And it is going to be a very bright spotlight. Let me tell you that. So if you are in any way thinking that VTRU is, not very useful or something, I must correct you. It's just not ready for prime time yet, because in order for it to be ready, we have to resurrect our marketplace. We have to get our Launchpad done, and we have to enable the flow of organizations, foundations, galleries, etc., to be able to come and launch their own token. That's the model that VTRU was based around. So that is all coming, and we can't do everything all at once. We have to do things in series. So when we are at the point where we have enough traction with the foundations, galleries, museums, etc., then that's when you can expect to see the token Launchpad experience created, including the ability to have fractional art purchases, etc. So those tokens are going to be very valuable. Every VTRU the VTRU benefit is based around getting a portion of those coins at the time they're launched. So every new token, there's going to be an allocation that goes to VTRU. So do not underestimate VTRU. I would tell you that. So we have not given it much love right now. I understand that, but we have to do things in the right order, and that's important. So that's coming. Okay, let's go on. And here's the news you've been waiting for. Straight up, Wrap VTRU will be live on the DEX July 23rd. That's it. No drama, no fuss. That's it. Now, I put one little caveat there. If a major exchange commits to that prior and gives us a launch date within like a few weeks, then and only then we would change it. But otherwise, I would say that 99%, we are 99 point more percent, 5% or something like that, because the exchanges we are talking to, I'm not sure if they will commit in the time frame we have. So that's it. All right. July 23rd, you can expect to have Wrap VTRU trading, because we cannot delay anymore. If we are going to have the artists, the creators, adopt the system at scale the way we want, it's got to be liquid. And I know everyone else is waiting for it. It's got to be liquid, right? So we're going to do it. Boom. There's just no ambiguity anymore. July 23rd is it. Why July 23rd? It's the 1-year anniversary of me stepping up here on this stage and saying, hey guys, I have this idea for VTRU. It wasn't called VTRU then, for leading this in a different direction. What do you think? and it's the exact 1-year anniversary. And for me, it's an important personal professional milestone. All right, so that's it. You can see that we are leading up to it. There's so many things coming together. All right, so let's talk about those things, right? So there's another thing we talked about. We kind of approved that idea, and we are moving forward with it. We're going to do a rebasing goal reset. So again, everything is coming together beautifully. So this rebasing target reset with the protocol, we'll attempt to do it in this month. And it requires coordination with all the validators, but I'm told that the VTech team told me that it's smooth, it's easy. So now it's just a matter of getting that protocol change made, tested, making sure it's all okay, and deploying it. What does that mean for us? Well, think about it this way. We've got Vortex, we've got VTRU Studio, we've got Vibe transactions, etc. So if all this is happening, we are already doing 3 to 5, I don't know, something like that, transactions per day. How hard is it going to be for us to get to 10K daily? I would say pretty damn easy. And so, we should be able to get daily rebases. I think we can do that. That's an achievable goal for this community based upon all the new activity that's happening. And I think this was a great suggestion. Last time I did not indicate the name, but everyone knows there was Arco. So thank you, Arco, for that brilliant suggestion. I really appreciate it. I think it's going to make a big difference to a lot of folks and to the protocol as a whole. So much appreciated, and thank you very much. Okay, all right, moving right on. Let's go to the next step here. Let's talk about Vibe. All right, so this has dominated our conversation the past few days, and there's a lot of folks who watch this download but are not necessarily in the dailies and all that. So this might be repetitive for some of you guys, but I'd like to kind of go through the Vibe presentation a little bit and make it and highlight some of the new changes and nuances and things like that. So give me a moment here and we'll get going on that. All right. All right. Okay. So what is Vibe? Vibe is Vitruvio income building engine as a protocol, as an open community-driven protocol, right? We are not a protocol that is driven by a single organization, a corporation, or anything like that. We are not beholden to large investors, etc. It's the community. The community owns and operates this protocol, and that's how it's going to be moving forward indefinitely. Like that's the future. So what we wanted to do was to create a model where everyone could share from the economic success of the protocol. And this is all stakeholders. Of course, the biggest stakeholders are the folks who stepped up and helped resurrect this protocol and fund it and get us going. And so we want to make sure that those stakeholders are well rewarded in the long term, and also the new ones that are coming on. So we want to talk about the creators in particular, but also folks who are working in the community, who are selflessly, doing support, sharing insights, things like that. So we want to make everyone feel like they have a stake in this. And Vibe is that. It's an income building engine. All right. So we will expand and unify all our revenue sharing initiatives through Vibe. So before, what we had was sort of a fragmented approach. We had a plan here, a plan there, etc. And that was on a slide. When you transition from a slide to actually implementation, when the rubber hits the road, as I say, right? You gotta think through a lot of details. And it turns out that implementing different revenue sharing plans for different constituents, different stakeholders, is a little complicated. And so this is the genesis really of Vibe, because we had boosters getting something, validators getting something, Vortex holders getting something, VTRU getting something, etc. And so what we decided to do is to unify things and make it very, very simple to implement and for people to understand. And what we are doing is, I'm going to skip through some of these slides because this is the one I want to, like, before we had like different ones, and now what we have is a very simple thing. You have all the revenue that's coming in. It doesn't matter if it's new revenue in the future. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If there is money coming in, then we want to make it equitably distributed to all stakeholders. That's it. That's the plain and simple approach, and we are excited about that. So how does that work? Well, we have a single Vibe smart contract, and all revenue received by the protocol is deposited into this contract regardless of the source, right? And the Vibe contract has an indivisible fungible token called Vibe. This might end up being a non-fungible token. It might. So don't hold me to the fungible aspect right now. It just considered a token. The supply of Vibe is fixed at 1 million. All right. And if you are a Vibe holder, at any time you can claim your pro rata share. So if you have one Vibe, that means you're eligible to receive 1 divided by 1 million of any revenue coming in. So if you have more Vibes, you just add those up and you divide by 1 million, and that's your pro rata share. So it's really very simple, and it works visually like this way. All the revenue sources, they come into this contract, and the funds are there. Anyone with a Vibe token can go anytime and claim their funds, and that's it. It's as simple as that. Not very complicated to understand, and this is forever. No changing it. It's all baked in, and it's forever. All right. So I want to kind of differentiate for you the value proposition of VTRU versus Vibe. Actually, that's wrap VTRU, but for the sake of convenience, I just put VTRU there. Price and profit depend on market conditions and investor sentiment, right? So with the rebasing, there could be up to 5x passive income in 5 to 7 years. But ultimately, this is a token that is subject to the whims of the market. Vibe has inherently no market value. It could if someone decides to, create a pair for it or whatever. But if it's an NFT, then it would also be available more through a marketplace, and it would represent future revenue. But the income that is derived for the protocol drives the revenue share the income that's derived depends largely on all our services like VTRU Stream, VTRU Studio, Vortex, etc. So anything that comes in is available as share, and there is no ceiling. There's no ceiling on that. It's the sky's the limit, and the stratosphere is the limit, and it is available for forever. So that's important for Vibe. And let's look at some of the revenue sources, right? So we've talked about store NFT sales, and like I said, we're in a hurry to get the VTRU store changes going next week, because that will allow us to start testing out, and then print. We intend to enable every artist to automatically have access to for their artworks that they choose to be available for printing, whether it's on canvas, metals, etc., and also to make it possible for people to choose like different materials. Excuse me one second. Let me get this sleep situation resolved there, because I really want this thing to play. Let me see. Is there a way to disable the sleep here? I don't know. I'll just keep it going there for a second. I want the artworks to be visible and not my login to be visible. All right. And so we have stream, store, and then we also have wrap VTRU contract rebases. That's an important thing. If you think about it, in order for people to trade, you have to get wrap VTRU. You have to basically deposit your VTRU into a contract, and you extract wrap VTRU equivalent amount from it. So let's use an example. Let's say that you want to wrap 100 VTRU, right? You go into the contract and you drop in 100 VTRU, and you get 100 wrap VTRU back. So now that VTRU is sitting in the contract, and meanwhile, we just discussed that we are going to retarget the transaction goal, and we are going to accelerate rebasing. So that VTRU is sitting there, and it is rebasing. Now multiply that by, I don't know, whatever number, say 10 million, 20 million, something like that, because everyone who wants to trade their VTRU must deposit it into that contract. So when that VTRU is sitting there and rebasing, it is actually generating income. And that income is shared among all Vibe holders. So Wrap VTRU is a very significant source of revenue. We will, when we launch the website for Vortex next week, we will also have a roadmap and tell you a little bit more about the plans for fixtures, assets, leases, and so on and so forth, and how that all of that is going to come. And also, let's keep in mind that we want to have all future revenue sources in there. We are also considering, this is not a given yet, we are also considering, and this depends on the technical feasibility of USDC also being part of that revenue share. So we have to figure out how that can happen. So put a question mark on USDC at the moment. VTRU guaranteed. All right. So let's for each of the different stakeholders, we have sort of indicated what the allocation is going to be and all that. So I've done this presentation several times. So I'm going to just zip through all of these and go straight to the table at the end, because that's essentially the agreed upon numbers. But I'll highlight a few things because they're kind of important. So treasury is basically all that's left over. With validators, each validator will have 100 Vibe airdrop to them. And then whatever is left of a total of 152,096, whatever is left, the balance, that is going to be the rev share for the validator group as a whole. And what they will do is on a monthly basis, look at which validators are in fact online and performant and divide that rev share equally among them. And that'll all be done programmatically. So it's just a matter of identifying which validators are performing. So for creators, this is important. We'll have 6 Vibe tokens each airdropped to folks holding a Dreamer Core NFT, who are an Artpacks artist and who are a Genesis artist. So all of you are eligible for that. In addition, we have 60,000 Vibe, and actually that includes the airdrop for the top thing. So there'll be a slightly lower number, but from the 60,000, but they'll be kept in reserve for Dreamers. And yesterday, we started working with some artists and building a rule-based system where artists have to complete certain milestones, and when they complete milestones, they get a Vibe token, 1 Vibe token. Then maybe there's another set of milestones, they complete that, and they will get another Vibe token. Now, I'll just be very clear about this, especially for anyone who thinks that we're going to hand out Vibe tokens willy-nilly. No, that's not the case at all. It's actually going to be very difficult to get a Vibe token. You have to work. And what I mean by work is you have to demonstrate your commitment to the Vitruvio ecosystem. It's not going to be impossibly difficult, but the bar is going to be high. We want to make sure that if we are giving a creator access to lifetime revenue, that they are a creator who are committed to Vitruvio and who have demonstrated, they have had multiple artworks consigned and sold and things like that. So we have very specific tasks that you have to go through and go there. And again, we have this inventory to last. We can't increase this inventory. So we have to use this inventory wisely to also cater to all these creators who are going to come on board in the future. And it is going to be a point, a big point of marketing for us, and to incentivize folks who maybe are not in Web3 right now to get on board, because this is novel and this is new, and there aren't galleries out there or museums out there that are sharing revenue with their creators, right? That's just not happening. And this is a point of both pride and also innovation for us, that we can offer this to creators to help them get on board to Web3. All right. So we have 10,000 Vibe tokens for the current team who have worked to this point to bring things to where they are. And so they will participate in this. And then boosters. Booster is huge, right? Boosters are the ones who essentially boosted this ecosystem. If you're familiar with spaceships, etc., you know that the energy required to get any space vehicle outside the atmosphere is the most significant. It requires a ton of fuel, and that's why you have these giant booster rockets and things like that. The fuel itself adds to the load, and it needs a lot to overcome that inertia. And boosters helped us. They helped us overcome the inertia and get there. So I'm very pleased to have a really good incentive system here for boosters, where each booster will be airdropped 14 vibe. Each super booster will be airdropped 2,338 vibe. That's just the multiplying by 167, which is the multiplier for what a super booster versus a booster costs. And then each of the 720 early birds who stepped up very early will be airdropped 9 vibe for each 7 booster transaction. So the early bird thing was defined with a 7 booster transaction. And so every set of 7, they get 9 vibes. All right. So this is information that's already been communicated to the community, so it's not new news, but I just want to share it with the broader ones. All right, so Vortex NFT holders, as I mentioned at the onset here, up to 25K, you're going to get an amazing deal. You're going to get 4 vibes for Epic, 3 for Ultra, 2 for Rare, and 1 for Common. And we'll do a check again. I think there were, 750 odd left. That can avail of this deal. And after that, it will be a random chance. So there's 25,000 vibes available to be distributed among 75,000 Vortex holders. So that's approximately 33.33% chance. Thanks, Gus, for the update. So Gus says it's 24408. So we are very close to running out of this this sweet deal here. And then we switch to the next deal. And also keep in mind that the price of Vortex goes up by $0.0001 with every mint. So I believe it's hovering around $12.50 now from the $10 which it was at the onset. All right. So that is Vortex. And then come general VTRU holders. Now this means everybody. So there's artists now. There's about, probably around 800 artists who now have 100 VTRU sitting in their wallet. There are people in the ecosystem who have purchased VTRU, who have been airdropped VTRU, etc. So this applies to all of you. How can you convert your VTRU, which is essentially dependent on market forces and is a one-time deal, right? Once you trade in your VTRU, you sell it, you're done. How do you convert that into a longer-term perpetual income solution? Well, you stake it. So we've got a really good plan here where if you stake 50 VTRU for 1 year, you get 1 vibe. What happens at the end of the year? You get your VTRU back, but you get to keep your vibe. So that is a sweet deal also. So this is, if you have VTRU sitting around, this is the way to leverage it right now. So if you do 50 VTRU, the same amount of VTRU for 2 years, then you get 2 vibe, and for 3 years you get 3 vibe. So the price of VTRU, the number of VTRU is constant, but the duration that you choose to stake it for determines your reward. And again, at the end of that period, you get back your VTRU. It's staking, right? Staking is not buying. Staking is putting into reserve and getting it back at the end of the term. So that is available to everybody. And there is a limit to how many vibes are available. It's a finite limit, and we expect that it will go very, very fast. And I'll get to that limit in just a moment when we look at the overall table. All right. So the decision really for VTRU holders right now is what to do with their VTRU. The stake offer is available for up to 350K. The rev share has no upper limit and is available forever. So really, you have to think about the 3 paths that you can take with your VTRU. One path is do nothing. It just sits there, and whenever you feel like trading it, you go trade it or whatever. The second path is what I would call the APY path, which is where you can go to airdrop.vitruvial.xyz and stick it for 60, 120, 150, or 180 days. We haven't yet made a decision on when we are going to retire that program, but it is currently in effect. So right now you can go and get as much as I believe a 50% reward on your VTRU for staking it from that program. So we call that the APY stake. All right. The next one is the rev share stake. So if you want to have your VTRU work for you, where you are focused more on long-term revenue, then you would go with the Vibe approach. So the choice is yours. Do nothing, go stake it, using the APY approach, or go to the rev share approach, or of course, trade it. So that's always an option. So those are the decisions that every individual person has to make. We're not gonna steer you either direction. It's whatever you choose to be best. Now there are limits for the Vibe staking, so we'll talk about that in a moment. So here's a table laying out all the numbers that we just discussed. No surprises here. You've got the treasury balance, you've got what's allocated to the boosters, what's allocated to the validators, the first Vortex NFTs, how much there. Now that number, 46,250, in probably an hour's time or so, we can have the final number on that, because we don't know, right, how many epics, how many rares, how many ultras exactly. We have an idea because there's a quota on each one. But so in about an hour, we'll have an exact number on that. And all we'll do is, if that number happens to be less than 46,250, we'll just move it down and increase the other number from 25,000 to more. So those vibes are allocated to Vortex NFTs, and we'll keep them there, right? The vibes allocated to creators. So a lot of creators who are, if they're smart and want to, take that sort of long-term revenue approach versus the short-term, let me trade this and get its current value, are going to be eligible for this. So that 6% of their revenue is available for creators, and the team, and then finally 350,000 available for staking, right? So that includes everybody, anybody and everybody who's got VTRU is can have that. So this, I think, is the most ambitious, the most exciting, and the most innovative revenue sharing program that's out there. And time will tell, right? Like we will start experimenting with this as early as next week, where you can start seeing the trickle of revenue come in. And really, hopefully, it'll become a torrent. You're going to see more and more of it come in, and hopefully, everyone benefits from it. So the Vibe activation is basically, I'm committing to having it activated by July 10. All the airdrops will be done. There's no reason like that. Once we hit the 25K, we know we can do those airdrops right away. And then what we can do is, for the remaining 75K, we can do the airdrops on a weekly basis as they come in. There's going to be a Vibe mint page that is going to be added to Scope. I call it a mint page, but it's really just a page where you can go stake your VTRU and then mint your Vibe, etc. So that's basically what it is. And like I said, we'll do our first revenue share test from VTRU Store NFT sales, which will be immediate. So both this deck and a worksheet, which I'll reference here momentarily, are both available at these short URLs. And as always, this entire deck is available to you also. So if you don't want to write this down, etc., you can. We'll post it. We'll post it in Discord. So it's vitru.xyz/vibe for this deck. Now we went through 3 versions of this. We went through 1, 2, and 3. So Vibe, as it stands right now, points to deck, which is version 3. That is the last one we agreed to. It's some minor edits to clarify things and to make the formatting better. But otherwise, /vibe is, originally it pointed to the first version, but that's obsolete now. So it points to the current version. We also have a Google Sheets calculator for Vibe to calculate your revenue projections. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But you can go to that with /vibe-calc. But ultimately, I just want to highlight this thing. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again and again. I come from an open source background, and we have a philosophy there that a rising tide lifts all boats. And I believe that same thing can apply to protocols. This community has a number of diverse stakeholders, and we can cater to everybody, and we can ensure that everyone is working for a common good, which is the benefit of the ecosystem. Right in our protocol is baked a feature that has that, the common good of the ecosystem. We all get a rebase when the ecosystem thrives. Now, we all make money when the ecosystem thrives. This has always been the case, but this is in a very tangible way. You can measure the growth of the ecosystem and the profit to you. So I'm committed to leading Vitruvio to become the most open, the most decentralized, and the most sort of ecosystem rewarding protocol that's out there, where we don't think about whales, etc. We think more about how to elevate the whole ecosystem, and in the process, if you happen to be a whale, great, more success for you. But we want to enable everybody, even if they have a small amount of VTRU, or if they have none, we want them to be able to earn it and really move towards that dream of generational wealth. So this is what Vitruvio is all about. All right. So I know one of the things that people really love is that worksheet. So let's just dive right into the worksheet here now. So this is available at vitru.xyz/vibe-calc. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I think it's good enough. And so what this does is to try and take a top-down approach to your holdings first. So what you do is you input in the green areas what holdings you have, whether you have a booster, a super booster, a VTRU, whether you own a validator, etc. And then also your Vortex mints, how many commons, how many rares, etc. you have. So let's say that you have one common and let's say one ultra here, right? So let's see down here what's going to happen. So there is an entire video where I explain this, so I'm not going to go into that much detail here. But basically what we have here is VTRU price growth. So we start at a certain price target, and you can customize it. If it's a green cell, it means it's for you. You can customize it. And then what happens is we have a growth trajectory over 5 years that is based upon, or rather derived from, blockchain transaction growth. So our blockchain has a theoretical maximum daily transaction limit, if you will, of 1.7 million. And so what we do is we, over time, say that, okay, our transactions are going to increase. If the ecosystem is thriving, the transactions are going to increase. And so then from that, we derive a daily transaction average, and we use that to reverse and compute the growth of the price of VTRU. So we're basically saying that the price of VTRU is tied intimately to the success of the ecosystem, and markets generally work that way, right? Like if an ecosystem is growing, etc., people go, wow, cool, I value this more, and so they're willing to pay more for it. So both VTRU and VTRO are tied that way, and in all my presentations, etc., you will always see that we have both VTRU and VTRO. And as I mentioned at the beginning, VTRO hasn't had its moment in the spotlight yet, but it will. And right now we are focused on VTRU. So if you are a VTRO holder, just hang in there. Your spotlight is coming. All right. Now, based upon all these values, how many boosters you have, how many super boosters you have, etc., it's going to do some calculations for you. Now, I know that some of you are saying that, well, there is a pool for what we call OG perks. Why is that not represented? Well, that's not represented because this would essentially complicate the spreadsheet significantly more, because here we just have a holding of VTRU. It doesn't matter how you got it. Now, the OGs are special in that there's a limited number of them. They all have a Nexus NFT, etc. So this would require us to sort of partition the VTRU off into, okay, these are my OG sort of VTRU, and these are my other VTRU that I got in other ways, whether it's an airdrop or trading or whatever it is. And so it makes it that much more complicated to do it. So I wanted to keep the worksheet pretty simple, but might do an alternate version of this that has that complexity. All right. So I'm not committing to it yet, but time permitting, I'll do that, and we'll add that. Now, Mike Purdy has already shared some instructions, I think, in Discord that tell you how you can customize it. But like I said, I'll take a stab at creating an alternate variant of this worksheet that has that OG data. but it's pretty easy to even compute mentally. So, and really the intent of this worksheet is to give you sort of a value of your VTRU holdings, but more importantly, it's designed to compute and do what if analysis for your income. And so the value we are treating differently from income, because this value is not realized until you sell, right? Until then, it's just a number. But the income here is real and is tangible and it's happening. Of course, it too converts to VTRU and then goes into increasing the value. I get that. But here we go. We can see the income analysis that's been done. So Vibe minted, how many you minted, and based upon that, you have an annual Vibe income value. So in this case here, we're saying that each Vibe has an annual income starting with $66 in year one and going all the way up to almost $2,000 and in year five. So how do we come up with that? Well, in order to do that, you have to go below here and look at some of the projections we've made based on the current market conditions and what we know our business can achieve. We have put in annual projections for sales for various different things here, and based upon that, we've come up with and then applying a growth number, we've come up with projections. The same here goes to wrap VTRU rebase, as I explained to you, that grows over time. So from all these sales, we have a percentage, generally 2%, coming in as revenue, and that is what goes into the Vibe contract, and that is what you as a Vibe holder are eligible for. So the rest of this sheet, like I said on line 62, it is not necessary to change any information below. These are just all the variables that go into it. If you're a spreadsheet ninja, go right ahead and tinker with these and have fun. Obviously, you're going to have to make a copy of the spreadsheet. I still keep getting requests for editing this. Nope, you are not going to be able to edit this spreadsheet. You have to make a copy and edit. All right, so make a copy and edit and play what if to your heart's content. And as I said, I'll make a variant of this with the OG perks in there. I don't want to complicate this one more. And that's what's going on with the worksheet. So let's go back here to this presentation and bring up the last thing, which is we do every time, which is we have a poet. And what we want you to do is to collect one for every one you attend. And if you've got the whole set, then we have a giveaway at soon. So now season 3 is ended, so we'll probably need to go and do the analysis on that and do the giveaway. So we'll be doing that over the next few weeks. All right, so that's what I got for today. Lots of good information happening. Let's just be clear. July is huge amount of activity happening. Next week, the week after, etc. Really exciting. And I couldn't be prouder and happier of the work we have done in the past year, to achieve success. And this is just the beginning. We are just getting started. It's gonna go places. I'm really excited about that. I see that we have a ton of questions, so I'm gonna scroll through them and get going with them. Zach, you're welcome to come back on, and we can start answering some of these questions. So Fur is in Brazil. So she says, hi from Brazil, supposedly winter, but not quite. Let's see here. I love this. Kelly says, please slow down on buying Vortex. My account won't be funded till end of day today. That's a good one. Oh, Ganesh, you said must be tried. I did a download without any chai. I just rushed from my car straight here and didn't get a chance to do that. Gosh, I gotta take care of this sleep thing on this laptop. It keeps going to sleep, and I can't show my beautiful art there. All right.
Interesting question. I would assume you're talking about like TPS, right? Or is this
Yes.
capacity? But the capacity of tokens, can that be increased over time according to your spreadsheet? I can see that.
Yeah, anything is technically feasible. But look, we are operating off a Go Ethereum fork, right? We've modified it for the rebasing, and if we were to increase the transactions and all of that kind of stuff, we have to do one of two things. We either have to take the latest version of Go Ethereum and reapply all the rebasing changes to it. That's non-trivial. Or we have to re-engineer Go Ethereum for increased transactions. I'm loath to do that because modifying a protocol is not our core business. We don't have enough going on at the protocol level to justify doing that. We are not, for example, saying, hey, we are the fastest blockchain for gamers, etc. You can get sub-millisecond or whatever, not sub-millisecond, let's say millisecond, response times and all that. That's not our shtick. We are building for creators, and having a low gas price at a reasonably performant level is what we are looking for. So just to give you some context here, I believe, and I may be wrong, so please correct me. And I know people will correct me. Ethereum right now is doing somewhere around 1.5 million per day, something like that. So when you have a max, sorry,
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, please look it up, and that way I'm not completely wrong. But I believe it's not a huge number. So the fact that we have the largest public blockchain, doing transactions that are under yet the capacity of the max capacity, tells me that we don't need to tinker with that for a while. And if we do need to tinker with it, I would imagine that we would have the financial and technical resources to do that, because this requires a complete protocol team. It requires a lot of engineering effort. It's completely non-trivial. So I would not open that. I would not go in that direction.
Looking for the TPS for Ethereum, Nick?
Yeah.
So on average, the TPS is 27.
Yeah. What's the daily? No, actually, go look at the daily transaction volume on Ethereum. That's kind of what we.
Well, I was just saying, like, when they've tested it and they said that was the average, and they said the max it has ever outputted is 67 TPS.
So right now our I have to do the mental math on this, but we pushed about 100 transactions per block, and that was fine. So you divide that by 5, so that was 20, right? So we can do more. I think we can do more. It depends on the type of transaction. So if there's a bunch of just transferring funds, I bet we could easily do 300 of those per block.
Well, it's also you go into the blockchain trilemma. If you focus on speed, you take more away from the decentralization and the scalability. So it's like, what makes most sense in a business application? I mean, a lot of people would think speed, but I mean, the UI and UX of apps trick us every day into knowing how long things actually take to build, to compile, to mint. Just because of what the screens look like doesn't mean that that process hasn't already started. For instance, on Instagram, when you record a video, fun fact, sorry to get off topic, and you go to like the filters page and you start editing it, it's already starting to upload that video to Instagram, so it'll be quicker. And that's what happens in a lot of the stuff. So when a lot of people just go TPS, it really doesn't matter. In my opinion, I mean, there definitely can be some throttles to the gas when it comes to network congestion, but I would rather have scalability, because that means you can bring in more users and have a broader ecosystem, and decentralization, which is essentially why we all love this space. So I'll get off my soapbox.
Yep. Let's go on to other questions. All right. I see one from Daniel. Let's get that one up here. Going with the Vibe model, can I take into account step 3 and step 4 projections for earnings from the Vibe calc? Can you interpret that, Zach? I'm having difficulty understanding what they're saying. Daniel, perhaps you can restate it in a different way.
That's why I got put in there.
Yeah. All right. Spain scored. All right. So there's a game going on somewhere. All right.
A lot of just commenters.
This is a good point. Some collector credits still tied up in BlockDart. Now, one of the things that I now have is sort of an outstanding task list for the community. So as of this morning, I was told that by the end of the day, I will have a list of all the artworks that were blocked, and so we'll reverse engineer from that, get the collector names, and we will reissue the credits. So that will happen um, within 4 days. So within 4 days, those credits will be refunded to you. All right. So we are working on that. Some of these things, they take a little bit of sleuthing to do and get the list together and all that. It's not like just like, here, let's just do it, right? Also, there has to be code written to order to do this. There's not been a scenario where we imagine we would be giving collector credits refunds. So we have to write code. So we have to first get the list together, then write the code to do it, and then actually do it. So that's why it takes a little bit of time. Nick, can you incorporate some form of notification whenever art is added to search? I check. Yes. So we are taking a slightly different approach. We don't believe that the platform should dictate what notification method you want, because everyone has their own preference. Some people like email, some people like text messages, some people like desktop notifications, etc. So our solution is this. We have the engine done for RSS, real simple syndication, but we haven't yet built in the rules about what feeds are available, nor have we created a mechanism by which you can potentially create your own custom RSS feed. Once that RSS feed is there, all you need to decide is which client you want to use, and notifications are yours to customize. So if you want text messages, you can get that. If you want emails, you can get that. If you just want a browser beep or something like that, you can have that. So RSS is our approach to it, because we see that anytime you have notifications of any kind, everyone has a different opinion, right? Some people like one way and some don't. But since we are committed to bringing RSS back in a very big way, that's our approach that we're going to take. And actually, it is in phase 2 right now, the RSS cleaning up of the list, etc. And for example, then there are browsers that support it natively. So, like for example, the Vivaldi browser supports RSS natively. But there's lots and lots of RSS clients. There's apps; they're all free. So you should be able to get one that you like, and then you're set. Now, we will make one exception, which is for artists and collectors when they have a sale. We do think that email is important there, so we'll just do that. Not really for any other reason other than the fact that there is a genre of email called transactional email, where we want that. Like, so if you want to go back in time in your mailbox and say, hey, what are all my transactions? You can just do a search and see them all, right? So we'll do that. For what I consider mission critical things, we will enable that one channel of notification, because really that's the only official one we have. We can't be DMing people on Twitter or whatever, right? So email is it. But make no mistake, we are innovating there also, and potentially you might see email on Vitruvio that is still anonymized, meaning it's tied to your wallet address. So you have wallet address at something.com or XYZ, and you'll be able to use it just like regular email, except it would be anonymous. So yeah, we'll work on that. Nelson says, wow, Stream is now closer to reality. Massive. Yes, Stream is very, very important as a revenue source. So you have to put the horse before the cart, right? And that horse is Studio. So we have to have Studio working properly and get the artists onboarded, get the artworks onboarded. And so we worked on that first. And now that we are at a good stopping point on that, well, let's just say not stopping point, at a good enhancement point on that, because we'll continue to do enhancements in perpetuity on that. we can focus on getting stream enabled and store. So stream and store are actually coming online in parallel. Store because we have a partner, and stream because we want partners, we want growth there, and we want subscribers. Legends Are Us says Vitro is forgotten. All right, just want to reiterate. Yes, Vitro is currently not the focus, but it's going to be. Please hang on. All right. Kelly says,
why would you say that, Nick? And I think one thing that needs to be nailed home is that you have to build an economy in order for currency to be used for anything. So we don't have a big enough team to be building out every piece of this ecosystem right now. So, yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Not forgotten.
So Kelly says, should be increased to 30K. So here's the thing, right? There are some things that we should change based upon feedback, but then there's other things that we set the rules, then we stick to them. So right now the rules are set. We might have already hit that goal, Kelly. I'm so sorry, but you still have a shot, but it's a 1 in 3 shot, of getting those vibes. Tanji says, if I buy with a different wallet, can I transfer over to my initial scope account? Yeah, we have now reached the point where you actually don't need to ask this question anymore. Everything is transferable. Anything you have, transfer it wherever you want. We don't care. The current holder is where the benefits accrue to. Having said that, I'll make one exception. There are certain things like perks, things like that are tied to the original grantee, so if they've moved their core NFT around, their Nexus NFT, then it'll still go to them. But that's the only thing. Other than that, these Vibe NFTs, the Vortex, etc., you can use them in any wallet you wish. No constraints.
I just found someone in the community wrote a Medium article about the Vortex NFT and earning a lifetime of revenue.
Nice. That's fantastic. See, that's what happens in a thriving ecosystem. Right. When you create mechanisms by which everyone gets rewarded, everyone is incentivized to do their small part to elevate the ecosystem.
Yeah, and well, I guess the reason I'm bringing it up, and if this person's listening, because they took a screenshot of the download. So next time, let me know. We'll promote this user generated content. Obviously we'll review it to make sure it doesn't say things it doesn't need to say, but we'd love to promote everyone for helping us get the word out. So I encourage you to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and one of the things that you do with a protocol, at least at its onset in its early stages, is you have to have a centralized kind of team in order to get anything done. You cannot run a startup by vote. I can tell you that it's gonna fail. 100,000% guaranteed to fail. So you have to have leadership. You have to have direction. You have to have tight control over deadlines and things like that. But then what you do is, as you get to good stopping points, you hit milestones, then you start opening things up. Like we are already opening things up where there's more community participation. Now, one of the challenges, if you've ever been in an open source project, in fact, go to any open source project that's really successful, you will find that there's a core group of contributors that put their heart and soul into it. And there's lots of other people who want to participate. Why? Because it looks good on your resume. It looks good on their GitHub badge or whatever, that they did one tiny little pull. Maybe they changed a word or something like that. And they're like, oh, I contributed to this project,
Comments.
But the serious contributors are they're around no matter what happens, through thick and thin. And what we want to do is also make sure that in our ecosystem, we have that similar thing. The people who have already demonstrated value are the ones we are inviting first to be on the team and saying, okay, now let's set you up with a token grant for compensation and things like that, because that's the future, right? I mean, our ability to pay people in fiat is limited, but we have to do that initially because How else are you going to get people to work? They don't work for free. You cannot get competent people to work for free. They have a choice. They can go get paid a lot somewhere else. So you have to pay them. So, but people in the community who are stepping up, very, very grateful to them and very happy to start, more formalized ways in which we can integrate. Speaking of formalized ways, one of the contracts we are creating right now is, for lack of a better term, we'll come up with a better term, a payroll contract. So as we hit engagements with users, we allocate the VTRU in that contract, and then every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, whatever the agreement is, they can go and claim their token salary, basically. So we are doing all that. All right. So getting back to questions here, Aris asked, any calculator for creators? I think that's a damn fine idea, Aris. We should take the calculator thing and make it available for artists also. However, knowing artists, I know that, I don't know, maybe 1% of them will actually go and look at a spreadsheet. The other people will look at a spreadsheet and close it immediately, because artists think visually and not with numbers. And so maybe we can be a little creative about it. And maybe we can.
I literally was going to suggest a GUI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to do something like that. So, but the idea is good. I think creators need to understand, and we need to educate them on focusing more on this as a business. One of the reasons many creators do not succeed right now in Ethereum elsewhere is because they don't treat their activity as a business. Because they haven't had any formal business training, or informal for that matter, and they're artists, right? They should be creating art. And so, but it's helpful for you in decision making to know what you have to do. Like, and I just repeat this, I've been on the record on this multiple times. On Vitruvio, we do not want artists to be marketers. We need them to be creators. They should be creating, and we are building the systems for promoting and marketing their art. And so with this kind of calculator, etc., what it will do is give them directional guidance. How many artworks should I be creating every month in order to achieve this much income, and so on and so forth. So I think that's a really good idea, Aris, and we'll implement that. So Frodic asked, when do we? I answered this, but we'll get it done this month. We'll work on getting the protocol updated this month, and. Yep. So any word on discussions, either Kara, etc.? Yeah. So I reached out to the founder of Kara. I did it through Twitter DMs, which she might not have seen it also. So I will find other ways to do it. I did check out the platform after Sunny pinged me about it. Thank you, Sunny, for that lead. It does look exceptionally good. It's a social sort of platform for artists, and I see a lot of synergies with it. So to the extent they would be happy to work with us, we would be very, very ecstatic to work with them.
I think I downloaded that actually. Check out. I never created an account. Someone said something about the QR code not working on the Poet today. I don't know if anyone else had that issue. Has anyone else had that issue?
With what? Come again?
The Poet, the QR code.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Issues. But our friend Daniel got back to us with his rephrasing of his vibe calculator question. Where do I look at in the vibe calc if I want to see what would be my total projected
earnings? Total projected earnings. That's a good question. So that was not the intent of this worksheet, but I can see. So if you look at, let me get out of here and go back to that. So I deliberately put this as value and not income, because didn't want to mislead anyone. This is the projected value of it based upon all these assumptions, right? So, and this is the projected income. This is actual income where you don't have to do anything. You don't have to trade or anything like that. The value here cannot necessarily be captured until you trade, and the price at the point where you trade, etc., determines what that value is going to be. So I think the answer would be simply by adding a row here that says, okay, notional value could be this plus this, and there's your answer. So I think that's what Daniel is saying. So let me scroll through here some more. All right. So Funkmaster says, sorry?
Chevy said line 60.
Yeah. Since the DEX rev share is back for VTRU staking, can you please create a way to change the original UXI wallet to a new wallet? Because if the 0.5% airdrop of new DEX tokens. All right. So that will be a note in my notebook here of things to do. Give me a moment. So this is change original VTRU wallet. Okay, we'll look into that and try and make that happen as soon as possible. Okay, so CK says, can someone please do a simple math calculation? Still don't understand the fee structure very clearly. Okay, I will try and attempt to explain that to you. I don't even need that spreadsheet to explain it, all right? So let's say that someone sells an artwork for $100. All right, they list it for $100 and they sell it for $100. Now the buyer is actually going to pay more than that. They're going to pay $102, assuming no other fees. Let's just say there's no other fees. They're going to pay $102. Why? Because we have a 2% markup on that artist sale. So we are committed to always giving artists exactly what they price their artwork at. So anything in addition is between us and the buyer, right? So we got $102. So when that comes in, 100 goes to the creator's vault. $2 goes into the Vibe vault. All right. So that's your 2% fee right there. Now imagine that same thing happening for print subscriptions, print or stream subscriptions, or wrapped VTRU rebases, etc. Right? With wrapped VTRU rebases, it's not 2%, it's 100%. So every time there is a transaction out there, there is a markup. That markup is our income. That income goes into the Vibe contract, and then it is available for you instantly to claim if you are holding one or more Vibe tokens. That's it. So if you're, for example, let's take this from a creator standpoint, right? So let's say you're a creator and you have completed the set of milestones and tasks we lay out for you in order to earn a Vibe token. Now, no matter who sells an artwork on the platform, and we expect hundreds of thousands of artworks of artists to sell hundreds of thousands of artworks, right? Whenever they sell one, you get a small piece of that. And those small pieces add up very, very fast. Not only that, we are committing to doing this for the current revenue streams and all future revenue streams. So if we decide that we are going to get into competing with the established stock photo sites, for example, like Getty, whatever, iStock Photo, etc., we decide to do that, and there's a good chance we will, right? Then we have the ability to say that, okay, let's motivate and incentivize these photographers with portfolios of thousands of photos to come on board. So technically we would have to implement like batch uploading and all of that kind of stuff. But from a business standpoint, we need to incentivize them. And we do that with our coins, with Vibe, etc., because we have incentive coins set up for that, right? We bring them on board, and now they start transacting. They start generating revenue. So all that revenue comes right back as a share. So this is also important for, I saw several comments during the Vibe process about creators shouldn't be getting this, that, etc. And that is extremely short-term thinking. If you were to think strategically, you have to think that if this ecosystem doesn't grow with lots and lots of creators, then that revenue is going to be flat. We don't want that. We want a hockey stick. We want a hockey stick on that revenue chart. A hockey stick is basically what most revenue for successful startups look like. It starts off very slow, but then it takes off and goes at a very big angle. So anyway, that's the fee structure. The 10K special. So lots of people remind me of it all the time. It will be done. I just have to spend some time on it. It's just a lot of other priorities right now. But these outstanding things that are kind of sort of giveaways, etc., they will be done. Yeah, and CK kind of explained that also in the comments. I didn't see your comment, CK, but you're correct. It was said DEX fee is not included in the vibe. Please confirm. Yep, we have essentially because as part of the discussions, etc. We are going to have VTRU keep its DEX. VTRU is a DEX token. It's going to keep its DEX fees, and like I said earlier, we're going to have the launchpad, and VTRU holders will be eligible for that also. All right. Let's see. Are there more questions here? Wow, this is great. See, this is community. I love this. I love this so much. So thank you, Garfield and Micah, for helping Kelly. I love this. This is great. Wonderful. It makes me feel very, very good.
I just thought this is a funny comment. Is it time to ask Randy Zuckerberg to ask her brother for a shout out? That would be massive.
Well, first of all, I don't know. First, I think 2 years ago it was hydrofoil on Independence Day with Mark Zuckerberg, and yesterday it was what's that? Wave? Is it wave surfing? No, what's wake surfing? So yesterday, Mark released a great video of him in a tuxedo, wake surfing, holding an American flag.
Yep.
That was good. So actually, not so interested in speaking to Mark as I am in speaking to Randy, because Randy is a co-founder of Hugs, which is a platform that makes enables artists to create beautiful a portfolio websites, etc. So I would love to partner with them. We had talked to them one time before, and that was very early in the game. And I've subsequently reached out and didn't hear back, but I will keep doing that. I'm persistent, and I believe that there is a tremendous synergy between Vitruvio and Hugs, and we just have to get together and talk about it, because we are not keen on building all the software that this that you would expect to find on the protocol, because that makes it all centralized. We are interested in building the core software and the core tools. So Studio is core, Store is core, Stream is core. But if you look at all the other things, in fact, even the marketplace, right? I would love for Magic Eden or someone like that to say, hey, let's add Vitruvio, and then we are done. We have a PFP marketplace versus us building and maintaining our own thing. It's actually preferable, but we are not large enough yet where we are easily able to get on people's radar. And so we have to do our own thing initially, at least until we can do a partnership with someone larger. And then it's great. Then we can have them actually maintain, run, market, and all of that, and do the distribution and things like that.
And Nick, I want to give a little more context to that statement too. And it's not that we haven't reached out to these people, and I have reached out to a lot of these partners, and a lot of these partners, just like exchanges, have extremely big integration fees if you're a nobody, because you don't really bring anything to the table for them at this time, so they want revenue. And that's kind of that's Web3. It's the hidden cost of the sunken cost of Web3.
Yep. All right. This is a good question. When can we purchase collector credits? I already have some people who want to buy my art. Also, is it possible to make a reservation of an artwork in Studio that can be purchased? So yeah, we won't do the reservation yet, but we definitely will get a collector credit page up and running soon, because we do want collectors who are outside our ecosystem right now to be able to collect art. So that will be something that comes up almost right after we enable the features in Studio. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, we have a minuscule, tiny team. We have a very, very small team. a lot of the code, a lot of the apps, the development that's going on that is Web3 centric, pretty much I'm doing. So uh, you know, as we grow, we'll have more financial resources and we'll be able to expand the team. But right now, we have to prioritize. Everyone wants everything right away, but then people have to step up and volunteer. That's the only way it's going to happen. Uh, Otherwise, we are focused on prioritized tasks. What is the most important thing for this ecosystem? We put that at the top, and other things, they have to wait. So when people ask me, hey, why didn't you do the 10K thing or whatever for airdrop or whatever, like, how valuable is that for the ecosystem? Probably not. People can wait on it, and so that they have to wait on it. It's that simple, folks. So everything goes on the list, and its time will come, but we are resource constrained right now. So I will always um, give you an estimate if I can. But for the most part, when people keep asking me again and again and again about certain things, the answer is always the same. It will get done, but it's not a priority. And when it's not a priority, it moves to a little lower in the list. All right. So Vijay says after 25K sold, each 3 continuous Vortex buys will get 1 vibe, or it's not guaranteed. Just like over 75K, Vortex will have 25K randomly. Yeah. So the algorithm that I implemented in there is that you basically, each time you purchase mint a Vortex, it generates a random number. And if that random number is less than or equal to 33, it's from 1 to 100. If it's less than or equal to 33, then you get a yay. And if you don't, you get a nay. Now, each time, it's also measuring, have 33% of the capacity been of what all that's minted right now, have they received a vibe? And if they haven't, then it changes that random number to a yes and says, okay, push this one out here because the quota is not yet met. So it's a sliding algorithm that guarantees that at the end of it, there will be 33% of it that's been expended. So contiguous is probably a very good way to game that. You're gonna more than likely get it, but I have to do some simulations to say yes, 100% it can happen on that. I don't want people to just go out and buy 3 at a time, because the algorithm is not that way. The algorithm is per mint. But obviously, the more you get concurrently, the chances of you having that are higher. So I designed the algorithm to be very fair, and not be gameable. Will there be a Discord live to announce who the marketplace partner is Monday? No, the marketplace partner will be announced when they are live, which is after we've gone through all the tasks of onboarding the artists and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll do that. As long as July 23rd is a fixed date for going live. As of right now, it is a certain date. And as I said, the only exception is if, let's say, like a super tier 1 exchange says, hey, we are just discovered Vitruvio, or the ones we're in conversation with says, okay, we've made our decision and we're going live on that date. So then, even then, we might still stick with our DEX date and say, okay, look, we are going to go with the DEX first and we'll go with the SEX. Because I don't know any centralized exchange that says, hey, we want to list you. Well, let's just say, I don't know any tier 1 exchange or whatever. This is, we want to list you and let's do it tomorrow. They have a plan, they slide you in, they have the marketing team, they have all of that. So anyway you slice it, it's going to be sort of August for those. So that's why I'm very certain that it's DEX July 23rd. That's what we are going with. There might be other announcements of if the centralized exchange things come through, because that's the logical progression, right? You have DEX, and then you have maybe multiple centralized exchanges, and then you keep growing from there. So that's where we are. I think kind of exhausted a lot of the questions. So we are at 24,603. So that's great. Let's take this one last question. Will there be an opportunity to sell Vibe in the future for a markup? Look at it this way. Any token you hold right now, if it's an NFT, right? We will have a marketplace. We're working on that, and it's tradable. So just like if you have a Bored Ape, you can trade it. Like they're just NFTs. So the market will decide the price on it. And so if you hold any NFT, whether it's a core NFT or whatever, you can choose to trade it based upon its future value. Is next airdrop still in 12 hours? Not in 12 hours. It is tomorrow, Saturday morning PST, 10 a.m., which is 5 p.m. UTC Saturday, which is July 6th. So in slightly under 24 hours. Let's see. All right. Freddie says, what about baby VTRU? What is that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds interesting.
Might be a token in our block exploit that's going to deploy. Cool.
All right, guys. We have a lot of work ahead. Weekends are the busiest for me. That's when I get a lot of the productive stuff done because we have fewer meetings and can actually get code done. One of the things that I'm really angry at myself for not having launched because I worked very hard is I have this game, right? Called Flip Artist that I was working on. I created all the sketches for 60 artists, and I haven't had a chance to finish the code on that and launch it. And I just feel like I want to get it done this weekend because it's fun. And, I worked hard for it. So I want to get that done. So maybe that'll be done. All right. I think that's it, everyone. Rising tide lifts all boats. Let's focus on the ecosystem and let's focus on your bag. Yes, you want to grow it, but look up also and look that there's a big ecosystem. There's a lot of it. There's a big community. Let's help each other. And let's focus on doing what's right for the whole community so we can grow and thrive together and be extremely, extremely successful. I love you all. Bye-bye, and have a good weekend.